Hey guys, welcome back. Today I got a quick build I'm going to run you through. This is the Orchid V3 from fasttech.com. This is I don't know the SKU number, but it will be in the description. Nice little RDTA. You can kind of see down the hole there, you almost see the build deck. So I'm going to go through a build on this today, show you how to do that. And yeah, I love this freaking thing, man. I've been using it now for a couple weeks. I got the other one on the way, V4, the bigger tank, just to be able to swap the parts and have some spares. And I see now there's even a V6 out, which looks badass. So I love this Orchid. It makes great flavors. Definitely, it's not really for the cloud chasers. It's more for like the mouth to lungers, as they like to be called. But I'll do a nice close-up here of the build, so stay tuned. I'm just going to break it down. I'll show you the components first, and we'll get into it. Alright, sorry about the shadows and shit, guys. I'll have some better lights up shortly. So this was the build I initially did, and this is a very good build on here. It's about a 0.4, I think this is 25 gauge, about 6 wraps. So I'm going to do something very similar. So you can see how much cotton I got in there. You don't need a whole bunch. You just kind of want it right up to the channels. Then when you put the chimney on, it doesn't clog down in there, because you need fluid to be able to flow, but not so much that it's flooding your whole build deck, right? So I'll clean this up, build some coils, and show you. I like to build my coils with a little jog in them. So basically there's a little jog that bends out and goes into there, so I just do like a little L, but I'll show you that when I build the coils. So okay, so I just cleaned it up a little bit, so I'll give you a close-up shot. So this piece here actually does screw off, and there's one more there, but it's a little tight and I'm having issues getting it off. I don't want to scratch it up, so I'm just going to leave it on. I just don't need to take it off. But this PC tank is replaceable. I believe there are glass versions or different colors out there. I'm not sure. It would be nice, you know, if you could just upgrade it. Bigger chimney and a bigger glass piece for the 4, you know. But that V6 does look pretty amazing. It's got, basically, if you look at the way the holes come up here, it's got almost like a tube that comes up a little further to stop juice from flowing in and directly down the airflow hole there, as well as the top of the chimney. This one here comes up, which is, it has O-rings in the center there, which you can kind of see. So it kind of snugs over the chimney. The V6 actually threads right on with a screw piece. Looks pretty nice, and I actually love this drip tip. I use this for many different mods. It looks sharp. It's got that Delrin insulator, so it doesn't get hot, but it looks like it's steel or aluminum, so it is a nice little drip tip. So let's get busy here. Okay, so I cut 2 pieces of Kanthal, roughly the same length. I'm going with 25 gauge, maybe a slight bit smaller. 26 maybe, it's right in there, it just depends on the millimeters. This is nichrome wire. Some people prefer Kanthal. I have both. I don't know, I think I kind of prefer nichrome, but they're both so similar, it's hard to say. So I'm even going to use my little jig. I got this from fasttech. Broke one of the things on it already, dropped it, but it still works. Don't know the exact size of the coils I'm going to make, but I will post it in the description, or I'll mention it in a minute here. I gotta just look them up. This comes with 6 different bits, all the way down to tiny little nano coils. So I'm going to go with at least 6 wraps on this, maybe 7. I want this to be about a 0.5 ohm build, high 0.4s. Truly to get the flavor from the Orchid. This is not a cloud chaser's atomizer. It's got fairly tight airflow. It's not bad. It's actually pretty airy. Like, you can get lungs out of it. Like, I pull long hits through it, but it's really dead smoke, and it's more meant for mouth to lung. But it works great. I love this thing. Lots of good reviews on this Orchid. I'm not the only one that likes it, so I'll get into wrapping these coils and we'll walk you through it. So I will show you how to build the coils for the first time, the way to build them. So I'll just build one quickly and show you how to put the jog in it. You mount them up, you burn them in, then you wick them. Okay, so there's one coil. Basically I've got it wrapped around 7 times now, I believe. Now what I'm going to do is kind of bend the two up, and then I'll do a little jog to keep them at the same level. I'll show you when I'm all done. It's pretty straightforward, but I just wanted to show you how this jig works so those who haven't used one might understand a little better seeing it in use. Holds the wire nice and tight underneath that screw and allows you to pull it nice and tight when you're wrapping it to get tighter coils basically. However, when you burn them in, you do squish them together, at least I do, with a set of pliers. You want to pick up a set like this. These work great for pretty much everything. And a set of clippers, a little set of wire cutters, like these guys here. These work just, I think these work even better than nail clippers, but I don't know. To each their own. Nail clippers do work great as well. Actually, this is another use I use these for, is folding those. So they come out of the same height. You just kind of pinch it and bend it over the top of the pliers, right? And then they both come up at the same height. So now when I let go of this, both of these now come out, so they go into the atomizer at the same. So, yeah, sorry if I'm over explaining. Feel free to fast forward. Thought I'd get a nice close-up shot for you there. So that's another tool I use. You know, they're kind of dirty. Sorry. Oops. Are these nice flat pliers? And I find when I'm doing my jogs and stuff like that, these work so great for just clipping it straight. So the reason I do that, you'll see in a second, but when you put the coil basically into there, you need that little jog. It'll line it up perfectly right over the air hole. Okay, so there you can see that little jog. So once I push that in now, it's basically going to come out right over that air hole, so you're not fighting with it. If you do this at the beginning of your builds, especially with these 4-post atomizers, it works great. So I'll carry on. Basically I'm going to push this in. I tend to burn them in one side at a time, just to make sure, but you can do it all at once. It just depends on your preference, so I'll at least show you burning in one side. Okay, so I've gotten the pushed in there. It's right over the hole. Now what you can do is go back and use your jig here and use that bit to pull it around and line it up properly over the air holes. That's what I do. Now instead of clipping the wires, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll cinch them up with the screwdriver tight, not over tight, but then you can carefully, don't poke your finger on these or you will be bleeding. You bend them up and down a few times like this if you're patient and have the, you know, they will snap off clean with the outside of the atomizer. It takes a bit of just wiggling up and down, but they will go. So I'm going to go ahead and with these 4-post atomizers, it's actually easy on the second coil if you kind of bend it up just a little bit, so when you push it through, that wire comes up above this coil, and then you can actually pull them right through and burn them both in at the same time. On the 3-post atomizers, it's a bit more difficult. You got to do the center post last, but anyway, moving on. A nice close-up shot there showing you I got that wire. See what I'm talking about? When you push it through, it comes up on top there. So I'll push this one in tight, clip those off, and we will burn these in. Okay guys, sorry I kind of did this ahead of time. I got overzealous there. So this, you get them in like that. I got this on my IPV. When I first put it in, I hit the fire button just to see what the resistance would tell me. And this is just as accurate as, you know, one of my boxes here. But anyway, it told me like 0.12. I'm like, oh man, it's way too low. I need like at least 0.2 something. Well, I burnt it in. Now it's reading 0.21. So basically, you hold the fire button down, and you'll see them start to glow red. Once they get nice and bright like that, you let off the heat and you squish them. Once you squish them tight, they'll just wrap right up nice and tight like that. This is one of the most crucial steps. If you don't burn off the excess machine oil and all that crap, you're going to end up smoking it. So get that off there. It's very important. You'll see all kinds of junk just burn off the first time you hit the fire button. And it's also very important to work the power through. Like, you kind of have to hold the fire button down. You'll see it start to heat up a little bit. Let off. Hit it a little bit more. Let off. And you'll watch the power start working its way through the coils for the first time. I can see it's a little uneven the way this is heating right now. So I'm going to mess with that a little bit. But that's probably just one of the screws isn't quite as tight as it needs to be. But you want to have them burning as evenly as possible, right? I also got the power pretty low. It's at 27 watts right now for this build. That's a little low, but yeah, that one side just gets a little hotter, faster. But that's basically it. I'm going to get ready and tweak this a little bit and start slapping it back together. Okay, so just to show you what I mean now, I kind of tweaked it, just made sure I had the screws nice and tight. Oh, did I set the... There we go. So now they're heating up evenly. Better than they were anyway. Maybe it's almost went the other way now. Anyway, so you kind of need to mess with it just a little bit. Make sure they're even. And you'll be good to go. Okay, so I will be using this stuff again here, Celu cotton or rayon cotton. I prefer, it comes out of the roll perfectly straight. I don't know, I like it. I find the flavors are really good. Wick's really good. I don't know, it's all up to personal preference. You know, I'll let you be the judge, I guess. But stuff's pretty cheap. You gotta pick it up from beauty supply places. Kind of lucky my wife's an esthetician, so I get it so cheap. But moving along, I'm going to clip a couple pieces of that, and I'll show you how. There it is. We hook this bad boy up here. The rayon cotton works. I just clip off 2 little pieces and start twisting it up. Depending on the size of your coils, you may need to split it a bit, and that's the nice part about it. All the fibers are perfectly straight, so it just basically pulls apart very easily. It splits. So I'm assuming I need to take off that much, but we'll see. I'm not going to show you me just fighting, pulling cotton through coils. I figure your guys' time is more valuable than that. Any relevant info, though, I do share. That's how she looks. So it's pretty easy to do. I just split a little bit off. And the nice part about it is you can kind of just pull it, and you can pull little bits off. And it'll allow it, like, let me explain a little better here. If I hold it, so you have too much, and I'm not able to pull it through this way, you can just kind of grab something like that and just kind of pull it right off. And it will make it thinner and easier to pull through. So it actually, I don't know, if you haven't tried it, give it a go. So now I'm going to clip it off. You do need to clip it fairly short. You don't want to leave a lot of excess in this, as you need to allow the juice to be able to flow up those channels. So I'm going to clip them off, and we'll show you. Okay, so I trim it, basically trim a lot of it off. Take off as much as you can. You want to just leave it so there's not a whole bunch of material right in the channels, because when you screw the chimney on, like so, right, you have to have, it's got to be able to fit over top. So I can tell right there, I'm close, I can screw it on, but I'm going to take just a little bit more off, just around, just basically like an angle, so that this fits over nicer. Okay, so I got it basically where I want it. I know it's close enough, so now I'm going to saturate it. Now this is very important. Saturate it, burn it a bit, and then put the chimney on. Make sure everything's working properly before you put it all together and find out you only got one coil working. Because you're kind of hooped once you got it filled, right? You got all that juice you got to worry about, yada yada. So do it right the first time. So this part's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to saturate it. I'm using some local juice here. Oh, USP certified, food grade, kosher, best stuff I can find. And I actually mix up my own juice now, which I recommend looking into if anybody's looking at going down that road. The whole reason I quit smoking was to save money, not to spend more on organic e-juice. Fall on your heads. Anyway. So, saturated. Make sure you get it nice and soaked before you put the chimney on, because this is what's going to help everything wick. Can't put it on and expect it to wick anything dry, right? So I'm just going to burn it real quickly and just make sure everything's firing properly. And as expected, everything's working great. So, important to make sure that everything's functioning properly, and it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and put it all back together. Okay, so bear with me, I'll try and do this for you guys. So, chimney just goes over very nicely, kind of just work it back and forth. You might have a little bit of juice first time you do this, but it's important that you just make sure you take your time and make sure that it's done right, because if you don't, you can't change it later. You gotta start all over, and then you gotta get all that juice out of there. So I can tell right there everything's working properly. I've got room for the juice to flow up those channels. This side's a little long, but to be honest, I'm gonna leave it. I've had it worse and it's worked fine. Good for me. Now you need to make sure there's adequate material in there or it will flood. So there you go. You fill it all the way up like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and it's okay. Just my IPV getting knocked over. Anyway, the bottom piece goes on. It's a little dirty, but I did clean it all up. It's just juice all over my hands now, so I will clean this all up at the end. Top ring goes on. All the O-rings are in between, so you want to make sure that those are nice and clean and seated properly, or you might have some leaking going on. And the top piece. Now this does have that O-ring in the center there, so you need to make sure that fits over this chimney. Do not fill from the top. A lot of guys do this, and this is the main reason. I'll tell you why you don't do this. You know, you might be able to do it the first time, but what happens is you fill the juice in there, and then you go like this. Well, now as soon as you get the threads to seat, it's sealed. So now all the rest of this threading you got to do is forcing air into the chamber. What the hell? So right there we go. So every time it's forcing more air into there, and what will happen is it'll force juice right into those channels and it'll flood your build deck. So fill it from the bottom. That's my problem right there. That O-ring didn't seat properly on there. And there she is, she's built. So now we got to fill her up. Well, if you don't have a needle tip bottle, it's not that big of a deal. I do it all the time without my needle tip. You might waste a tiny bit of juice, but if you get good at it, it's not bad. The needle tips are going to be better, so you need to pull the screw out. I don't know what kind of screw it is, but it's a non-ferrous metal, meaning it's not magnetic. So it's kind of a pain in the butt to put in, no matter if you got magnetic screwdrivers or bits. It's not going to matter with that silly screw. Anyway, so you can see the hole in there. You can use a needle tip, or I just put this in there and just kind of line it up, get it over the hole properly before you squeeze the bottle, and you can see it starting to flow in. Just need to be careful that you don't make a mess, basically. And because it's sealed, sometimes I find you almost need to blow air in there just to get it to go down sometimes. If you can't get the air to flow, just break the seal and force a little air in there. So you can see it's kind of working its way around. It takes a bit sometimes to fill it up. And like I said, a needle tip bottle is going to be beneficial. So sometimes you just got to be patient, let it work its way around. And then once you get it to go, it'll just go. The whole thing will just kind of pressurize and just go. And show you, this is taking too long. There it goes. So now it'll just right up to the top. And like I said, a needle tip bottle is going to be beneficial. Suck up a little excess on there. I'll clean this up, get the screw put back in there. Okay, and there she is, all built up, ready to go. So the one thing you can do with this thing is once you get it going, sometimes the pressure in there, like you can see the bubbles starting to come up. Sometimes you won't see any bubbles for a while, and you're like, what the hell? If you just crack the top, see, glug 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 glug, and then just a little bit. Like, don't go crazy, or else it will pressurize a bunch of juice in there. So that's basically it. I'm ready to fire that up. So I built this pretty damn low. I didn't mean to go that low. I just wasn't quite sure on the wire I was using. Turns out I guess it was a 25. So I'm down about 0.22, I guess. Pretty low for the Orchid. Kind of right on its max here, but on a low wattage, 25, 30 watts. It's great. It's not really made for the higher wattages, to be honest. But let's throw this on the IPV here and give her a toot. I gotta say, doing some advertising. I gotta say, about 30 watts. Let's see, where am I here? Ooh, that's just a flavor monster, I tell ya. 0.23, 30 watts. Oh, I can't even explain to you the flavors coming off this thing right now. It is great. If you're into rebuildables, you'll love it. The only thing I can say, this is great. It's a nice form factor. I love the size of it. You only get, like, from a full tank like that, it's maybe 50 puffs, depending on the size of the build. If you got I got a big build, obviously that's going to wick a lot of juice. However, if you go with those smaller coils and whatever, you can probably make it a lot more reasonable. This is the reason I picked up the 4, simply because of the higher capacity. So I hope you like the build, guys. There's lots more to come. If you got any questions, comments, anything, let me know. If you feel like you can contribute to the Vaporology team, let me know.